I'm Joyce Shaar. I'm an actress, comedian, model, philanthropist, mother, and grandmother. I love people. Everyone has a story to tell, and together we're going to explore how to achieve health, wealth, and happiness. Welcome to the Joyce Shaar Show. And today we are speaking with Craig Makala. Now, Craig has had many careers. He started with olives and he's been continuing until he now is the CEO of a company called Olivison. Craig, would you mind telling us what Olivison is about?
Sure, yeah. Olivison is a botanical based product that we developed many years ago, and now it's come to fruition. And it's mainly designed for skin ailments, skin problems, rashes, diseases like shingles, eczema, psoriasis, cold sores.
Wow, yeah. Well, I know that you started with olive trees. Is that correct?
Well, yeah. We actually started in a half of a duplex garage.
Garage, right?
Yeah. We had my wife and I, we were boyfriend and girlfriend at the time, and we were renting a duplex in Santa Barbara, and we had an opportunity to branch out from, I was working for Santa Barbara Winery. My wife was working for a publishing firm. She was the director of that firm, and I was the marketing director at the winery, working for Pierre Lafon, who's still here in town.
That's right.
Yeah, and so anyway, I had this opportunity to take over a fledgling olive company called Santa Barbara Olive Company, and that was in 82, 83. And we had 36 stores that we sold to. We were selling at that time about $15,000 a year gross, and the company was run out of half of a duplex garage.
I remember because I was there one time. I got to visit that place many years ago, and they had big barrels of olives everywhere, and then you were doing olive oil and just olives, stuffed olives and so forth, but not skin products at the time.
We
right?
started off with 7 products, 7 olive products. We had no idea we'd go into skincare or any type of medicine, because we were all consumed with growing that Santa Barbara Olive Company. And I think it was 28 years later when we sold the business in 2009, if my math is correct. I think it was about 27, 28 years later, that we then began experimenting with the leaf of the olive tree as a medicinal ingredient into possibly teas, food, or maybe
alcohol.
Emollients.
You could put it in alcohol.
You could put it in anything. Yeah. And what it led us to was a skin, sort of a skin line is where we ended up. And
a healing skin line.
Yeah, a preventative and a healing skin line, correct.
And so, you know what I'd like to talk about a little bit about this 10 generations, and your great-great-grandfather, John was his name?
John.
Jules, okay.
Yeah.
And tell us a little bit how that started and actually, because we are on a Spanish land grant right now.
That's correct.
All right.
Yeah.
So he must have started this whole thing way back when.
Well, before Jules Emile Gou came from France in 1851, my great-great-grandfather 8 generations ago came from Sinaloa, Mexico, by way of Spain. And he was with an expedition that went through Santa Barbara looking for a place to plant the last presidio, fort. There were 4 presidios in California to be built by the Spanish government. And at that time, there were 3 already existing. And he was in this expedition. They chose a place in Santa Barbara to put the last fort, the presidio. And he stayed back and began building the bricks that built the fort, the final of the 4 forts. And he decided to stay. His name was Quintero, Luis Quintero.
Okay.
And Luis Quintero stayed, and he was also turned out to be, he was a leatherman. He made saddles and boots and clothing.
Which was a popular trade at that time.
Needed leather. The soldiers needed their leather, so he became a leatherman. And he married a soldier's daughter, and they had a Maria, and that was Maria Quintero. Then she married a soldier's daughter. And anyway, there were 4 Marias that were my grandmothers that were born in the Presidio, the lineage from Luis Quintero down to Valenzuela, Rubio, and the last one was Maria Cañedo. The Cañedo adobe is one of the oldest adobes in Santa Barbara. It's still there, and that's where the Cañedo family lived. It's in the Presidio grounds as we speak today. You can go visit the Cañedo adobe. Anyway, Maria Cañedo was at a party at Casa de la Guerra. Senor de la Guerra was the comandante of the Presidio, where she met Jules Gu, who had stopped in Santa Barbara with his buddies on his way up the coast to Monterey, and he fell in love with her at this party, and his buddies got on the ship Stearns Wharf to depart, and he didn't get on that ship. He stayed, and he married Maria Cañedo, and I'm a descendant of Jules Gu, Maria Cañedo. So they had 2 sons, Anastasio and Julian. Anastasio and Julian, Julian is my great-grandfather. Jules is my great-great-grandfather, and my grandmother is Lucille Gu.
Is she still living?
No, Lucille Gu has passed.
Okay.
And then my father is, a byproduct of Lucy, my grandmother. My father has passed as well, just about 5 years ago. But my mother's still alive.
Okay.
And she would be the 4th generation living today.
Wow.
In Santa Barbara. So to make a long story short, if you go back to Luis Quintero to my grandchildren today, that's 10 generations born and raised in Santa Barbara.
And who really got active and started with the olives?
Well, Jules Gu was a horticulturist. He had studied horticulture.
Okay.
And when him and his buddies were going up and down the coast, they brought mulberry flats, grape flats, and olive flats with them. They were looking for a Mediterranean climate where they could plant these fruits and trees. And so when his buddies decided to leave on the ship and go up north, continue looking, he took some of his, his cuttings and stayed in Santa Barbara. And that's where the first commercial olive grove and olive production was Jules Gu and Albert Packard.
And where was that exactly?
You know where Olive Mill Road is in Montecito?
Sure,
there was an olive mill there.
Oh, really?
De La Vina Street. That's where the vines were.
Oh, my gosh.
He made some of the first wine. He had the first saloon on State Street called the A.J. Gu Saloon for Anastasio and Julian, his sons.
Oh, my God.
It was on State and Carrillo.
Okay.
And
we all know where that is.
You can look that up in any archive, any history book. So the A.J. Gu Saloon made beer and wine, and he had olive oil there as well. And him and Albert Packard were the first to make commercial olive oil. The Padres, the fathers, made olive oil. Camulus and different missions made olive oil.
Right.
But it wasn't commercialized.
Right.
He made the first commercial olive oil to sell.
Okay, and then that's where you picked it up on down the years. You got yourself involved.
I'm a descendant of Jules Gu, but there was a lapse between Jules Gu and the 42 years now that I've been an olive grower. Although all of my family was involved in some type of agriculture, when it came to olives, the lapse would be between when Gu passed on and then I came.
And then you picked up the pace there.
Yes,
and you've extended it into something. Well, Craig, I know that you have a lot to talk about, and we're so interested in hearing all your further endeavors. So we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back and listen to more of Craig Makala.
Sounds great.
All right.
Enjoy your stay in Santa Barbara at the Best Western Plus. Conveniently located in the heart of downtown, within walking distance of shopping, dining, wine tasting, and so much more. Relax in our newly remodeled rooms, take in our beautiful outdoor spaces, or dine at the Live Oak Cafe. The Best Western Plus offers affordable luxury whether you are driving up the coast, hosting a family reunion, on a business trip, or booking an extended stay in our 1 and 2 bedroom suites. Choose from a wide variety of specially curated vacation packages. Come and stay a while at the Best Western Plus, Santa Barbara.
Well, welcome back to the Joyce Shaar Show, and we're here today, of course, with Craig Makala, and we have more to talk about with Craig. You know, olive oil, I think it's a way of life, and so that's where you come in with all your productive ingredients now to take it further into a repair and medicinal venture, right?
Well, as it so happened, we just sort of, by accident, we read, my wife was looking through some archival history books, and she saw this Chinese writing where olive leaf was used as a tea for things like yeast infections and viral infections and colds and cold sores. And so my son, suffering from cold sores, kind of led us into making tea for him to try and see if it...
You break them down and put
we
them
chopped
in the
leaves
tea,
up and
right?
we just steep them. And sure enough, after a couple of weeks of him drinking tea, he was about 13 years old. He was training to be a lifeguard down at the local beach, and he was exposed to the sun all the time, so he kept getting cold sores. The olive tea seemed to make them go away. So we said, maybe one day when we're not, doing olives and olive oil, we should experiment with the olive leaf and see if there's any medicinal,
qualities,
qualities, goodness.
Yeah.
And that led to Olivicin.
Well, can we tell that story about Cindy and how you stumbled upon, because that's a fascinating story, and I think our viewers would love to hear how that all kind of really got into gear and started.
Sure. Well, I've told you a little bit about how we made tea for my son, and I always kept some dried olive leaves in the kitchen, and we would cook with them, and we would use them in salads, and so they were always a presence of olive leaves in the kitchen. Well, about 8 years ago, my wife developed shingles, and she went to the doctor. They prescribed aclovir, which is a strong prescription drug.
Right.
For viral infections to the skin, and in this case, shingles. And it's probably the only thing that is out there right now that really is prescription-wise. And it also has a detrimental effect to the liver and kidneys.
And it has other problems associated, right?
Yes, it has a lot of issues that are associated with taking that medicine. Anyway, jump to Cindy lying on the couch, day 2 of her shingles. She's a very strong woman. She doesn't cry. She doesn't whimper. And she's in a blanket with a fever, and she's just whimpering. And I just felt so bad. I got up and I thought, there's got to be something that I can do that, what can I do? Maybe I can soothe her with some emollient or something. I don't know what I was thinking. So I went in the kitchen, I grabbed a bowl, and I remembered, hey, I have dried olive leaf.
That's right.
And I know that, it's very effective for cold sores. So I thought, why don't I mix some olive oil with it? And then it occurred to me that I had 2 little things, tincture droplet bottles of St. John's wort and bee propolis in my medicine cabinet that was given to me by a friend at one of the natural foods trade shows. He told me, he said, if you ever have a skin rash or a sore throat, drop this propolis down your throat, and he said, put the St. John's on your skin and rub it in. So I just dropped some droplets, maybe a dropper full.
Oh, the chemist.
Yeah, and I mixed up this green goo, and I said, honey, would you mind if I tried this on your? She had terrible rash, and she just allowed me to do that. So I covered it in gauze because it was kind of gooey. She fell asleep. About an hour and a half later, about 9:30, she woke up and to go to bed, and she said, I don't think I have a fever. I think my fever broke. And I thought, well, that, coincidental maybe, I don't know. She goes to bed, wakes up at 6 in the morning, and she turned and she said, I feel good, because she felt terrible the day before. I said, what do you mean? She said, I just don't feel sick anymore. And I thought, well, that's weird. So she goes in the shower, and she says, honey, come look at this. And she walks out of the shower, and about 80% of those very nasty blisters were gone. They were just little white spots, basically. And I looked at her and I said, we have to tell the world
about this.
Yeah, we just discovered something.
Oh my God.
I mean, this is like a miracle. This could really help millions of people who are suffering, just like you were suffering. Well, that was the day 3 of her shingles. They were gone, and they never came back.
Oh my gosh!
So it worked.
It's a great story, and now you have it in a jar, so no one else has to suffer. Okay.
Well, what we didn't. We're not formulators. We're not scientists.
Okay.
And so we found a friend, a PhD friend of mine in LA, who had a formulator friend. Mm-hmm. So we paid this person, and they studied, and they came up with a formula. We ended up not using olive oil as a transdermal. We use aloe vera now.
Aloe vera.
So there's aloe vera. There's still bee propolis, still St. John's wort, still olive leaf extract, and comfrey from the comfrey plant.
Okay.
Those are the 5 ingredients that began the product, the basis of the product. And now those 5 are in all the different products that we have. We have 6 products today. We have a lip balm. We have an eczema psoriasis, a shingles, a cold sore.
And bug bites. You have something for bug bites, right?
First aid spray, we call it.
Yeah. I mean, we all
it's right
want that
behind.
in
It's
our
on the counter
patio.
back there.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and the thing about the first aid spray is, and I've used it myself, of course, many times, but everyone that uses it says the second you put it on an itchy mosquito bite,
gone,
or poison oak or poison ivy, stops itching, and the rash goes away within hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
Maybe next could be pet supplies. I'm thinking on that one.
We have a hot dog and cat itch product.
Right.
It's already in the works. It's a spray.
Oh God, yes.
And if the dog or cat licks it, it's systemic.
So it doesn't bother them.
No, it goes inside internally,
right.
and fights from the inside. So they can lick it.
Oh my God.
It's
well,
not
you're
poisonous.
already famous. I don't know how you're probably even coming out with more things, but how you've solved so many problems that we all have in the world. I mean, shingles is a big deal today, and I guess all the dermatologists are becoming your best friends.
Well, it's been a slow road, to be honest with you. It's taken 7 years for the world to sort of take notice. It's hard to put a medicinal product out on the market. This product received a patent. So the formula is patented. And thank God that Albertsons, the chain Albertsons, Safeway, Vaughn's, Albertsons, Acme, and Shaw's, that's their banner. They have 2,200 stores. There was a very nice gentleman buyer there, Ron, who took a chance and put it in all those stores. Well, it was only about a year later that Walmart took a chance. Walmart put it in all 4,800 stores.
Wow.
Just 2 months ago, we shipped to 6,400 Walgreens. So now we're in Walmart, Safeway, Albertsons, Walgreens, but then came along Harris Teeter, Big Y, Hy-Vee, Wegmans, Kenny Drug, Pharmaca. Today we're in about 14,000 stores.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And of course you can buy it online as well.
Right. Well, that's the secret.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it's also fascinating. You have so many faceted parts of your life. And I know another thing we'll talk about, and we're going to come back to this because this is so fascinating that you're solving a lot of people's problems by just being creative and doing what your brain told you to do. And that's wonderful because if you have an idea, just do it.
Yeah, go for it.
Just do it. And you never know. Sometimes it works. And then all your dreams that you making something work come true and you help the rest of us. So I'm happy about that. And I'm also so happy to hear that you were one of the few people that make these wonderful gift baskets from your products. And you did this for Ronald Reagan way back when.
Yeah.
You started that with him.
Well, we're segueing into olives and olive oil, which is the beginning of our career. And yes, olives and olive oil are the basis for everything that, I've done in my life, because if you think about it, we never would have had the olive leaf for olivicin if we weren't sitting in an orchard of 4,000 olive trees. So it was just so serendipitous that happened. So we kind of owe, our history to our ancestors, of course, who were in the olive business and brought it to our country, but to the culture of the olive and the olive itself. Everything about the olive branch, the symbol of peace. You know, it's mentioned 40 times in the Bible.
I know.
Directly
All you have
mentioned.
to do is take an olive branch and swish it around on somebody, right?
The athletes in the first Olympics always got a wreath, you know, an olive wreath
right.
on their, you know, to wear on their forehead. And it was the symbol of peace for everyone. So you mentioned Ronald Reagan. When he was in office, he was doing a 36 country tour. And he was looking for a product that would be from his hometown, because he had the ranch right
up the
His
street.
ranch is probably 5 or 8 miles from us, from where we're at right here, up the mountain, from behind this property. And he luckily, you know, found us, and he asked if we would sell him 36 gift packs. We gave them to him, of course. We donated them. And we were glad to donate them to him because we knew they were going all over the world. So he went on this world tour and he gave them to the Queen and to the Shah and, you know, to the leaders of the free world. And it turned out to be, I guess you could say, instrumental in, you know, putting us on the map.
That's right.
Because when world leaders get your gift pack, you know, the word kind of spreads, right? And I think Mr. Reagan spoke about it in public.
Right.
And that didn't hurt us at all when we were first building our business. And then he finally became kind of a friend because he gave us a very nice thank you in the way of a handwritten letter from him and Nancy. And it was very poignant and real.
Instead of a feather in your cap, you had an olive branch in your cap.
Yeah,
I mean, that started you, and the way you went with all of it. And we're going to come back and we're going to talk about more ventures and wonderful skin products that we're going to hear about. All
Great.
right?
Sounds good.
All right.
Enjoy your stay in Santa Barbara at the Best Western Plus. Conveniently located in the heart of downtown, within walking distance of shopping, dining, wine tasting, and so much more. Relax in our newly remodeled rooms, take in our beautiful outdoor spaces, or dine at the Live Oak Cafe. The Best Western Plus offers affordable luxury whether you are driving up the coast, hosting a family reunion, on a business trip, or booking an extended stay in our 1- and 2-bedroom suites. Choose from a wide variety of specially curated vacation packages. Come and stay a while at the Best Western Plus, Santa Barbara.
Welcome back to the Joyce Shaar Show. And right now, Craig, you want to tell us where are we now?
We're inside of our certified packing plant, our olive and olive oil packing plant.
Oh, wow. Okay. I've never been in one, so probably most people haven't. But this is what we're going to teach them today about what happens in here.
Right.
All right.
Well, you were asking me about olives.
I was.
So I went out and I picked a branch off an olive tree. And I'd like to start by just sort of describing what happens with the nature of the olive and the culture of the olive and how it gets to where you see it being packed right here.
In the jar.
So all olive trees start off with green olives, and all olives turn black. So there are no black olive trees or green olive trees.
Okay.
All olive trees have green olives to
Green.
begin with, which is an unripened fruit, and then they turn sort of red.
They do.
And then they turn black, and that's a ripened fruit.
Okay.
All olives also flower. So right here on 1-year-old wood, it's always on only 1-year-old wood, they flower, and the little flower comes out. It's a yellow and white flower, has a nice fragrant smell to it. Now the flowers have already dropped on this particular branch, and now you see it's just beginning to bud
baby
olives.
olive.
Yeah.
Oh my
So
gosh.
from the flower, all seed nut trees have flowers that turn into the...
So this could be a whole jar's worth.
Well, this could be probably about 20 or 30 right here.
Oh, okay.
But,
Small jar.
It's interesting that most people think that there's green and black olive trees.
That's true.
And I always, remind them that they're all the same. They all turn green, they all turn red, they all turn black.
Right.
So after the olive, now, depending on what you want to do with the olive,
Right.
do you want to make it a green table olive? And do you want to pit it and stuff it or spice it or herb it or whatever? In which case, you pick it at its green stage when it's at its largest, fullest, ripest,
Before it turns red.
Before it turns red.
Okay.
Once the olive turns red, now you have a decision to make. Do you want to press oil with it at green and red stage, some black, which is a nice time to press oil.
Right.
I like to have 50-50, 50 black and red, 50 green before I press oil. So I want my bins to be balanced with at least 50% black and red. Now you cure olives in these particular fashions. A green olive, our facility only does organic. So we cure in salt and water only. So we use salt, water, and a barrel, and that's all. Well water, regular salt, table salt, and water. And the reaction in the olives creates lactic acid, which is a preservative, and the olives ferment inside of a barrel. It leaches out the bitter sugar. When I teach people about olive culture, I tell them, think of it this way. An olive is not edible off the tree.
Right.
It has too much bitter sugar in it, and the bitter sugar, like in other fruits, peaches, nectarines, plums, the bitter sugar turns into edible sugar in those fruits, right? And if you picked one green, let's say you picked a plum green, a green plum, and you bit into
Sour.
it would be bitter.
Yuck, yeah, right.
Well, the olive never transforms the bitter into sweet to make it edible, right? Mother Nature has not learned to do that with the olive. So the olive remains bitter until it's cured, until it's fermented in one way or another. So I just described to you that we do salt water for green olives, and then in black olives we use just salt, no water, dry salt.
How do just dry
salt?
Oh my gosh.
Because now this is a ripe piece of fruit. It has less bitter in it, and it takes less time, only about 5 weeks, to draw out the bitter sugars. And then it becomes sort of a pruny olive. It's sort of shriveled. We dry it in the sun, and then we cover it with olive oil, and then we pack it. So we're talking about 2 ways primarily that we do our olives here. We either do salt cure, or we do with water, or we do salt cure dry.
Right.
Those are the only 2 ways that we do our cures. And then the third thing is we press our olives into oil.
Right.
So those are the primary.
You don't stump olives? No, they have seeds in them. Can't do it.
Olives are very firm, and you wouldn't be able to produce much mush where grapes are very soft.
Grapes.
Yeah, olives are hard to crush.
Right.
You need a macerator, which basically makes them into a pulverized mush.
Right.
And then they go into a centrifuge, and then it separates the solids from the waters from the liquid, and then the oil, and then you draw out from the centrifuge where the oil is in the chamber, and that's where your extra virgin olive oil comes from.
Next week, Joyce continues to learn about the fascinating process behind olive-related products.